Hello, everyone. It's Veronica, the Heart Dietitian, and today we're talking all about yogurt. I had some good feedback about my last video about how to choose a healthy cheese, so I'm doing the same thing with yogurt this time. I often get asked if yogurt is a heart healthy food, and when I say yes, it is, they say, "Well, Veronica, there's so many yogurts to choose from. How do I know which one is the heart healthy choice?" So I wanted to go through that today for you so that when you're in the grocery store, you know exactly what to look out for. So, in general, yogurt is a really heart healthy food. We know that yogurt is rich in calcium, and calcium is great for our bones, but calcium is also an important nutrient for our heart health. Calcium is responsible for the contraction of our muscles, and our heart's a muscle, as well as our blood vessels. They need to contract and relax, and calcium is responsible for that. So, making sure we're eating enough calcium is important, and yogurt is a great way to meet our calcium goals. Calcium is also an important mineral in the DASH diet. DASH is an acronym. It stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, a diet designed to lower our blood pressure. And calcium can do just that because of the responsibility it plays in the blood vessel contraction. So again, very important there. If you don't know much about the DASH diet, I'll link it up here. There's a video I created all about learning more about how to incorporate the DASH diet and what it is. Many yogurts are also fortified with vitamin D. Vitamin D is important because we often get most of our vitamin D from the sun, and I live in Canada and we don't get enough sun here, especially now in the winter months. So we are encouraged to take a daily vitamin D supplement from Health Canada, but also making sure we're prioritizing vitamin D rich foods, and yogurt being one of them. You can always check if it's fortified by looking at the label and seeing if vitamin D is listed there. Yogurts are also rich in protein, and protein is an essential nutrient that we need to eat. And when I'm looking at my clients' diets, they're often not eating a lot of protein, mainly because of the restriction of red meat and animal products when it comes to a heart healthy diet. So looking to the plant-based proteins, but also proteins from something like yogurt can be beneficial to meet your needs. And lastly, yogurts are also rich in probiotics. Probiotics help gut microbiome. And there's also some new research to link use and gut health to our heart health. It is newer research, but it is exciting. And then other research to suggest that there's some probiotic strains that can actually lower our LDL cholesterol levels. So nice things to look out for and more reasons to include yogurt in our daily routine. So now that we know that yogurt is good for our heart, how do we choose the heart healthy yogurt? The first tip I'll give you is you always want to look for plain or unsweetened yogurt. Flavored yogurts have a lot of added sugars. And there is a guideline from the American Heart Association, Diabetes Canada, as well as the World Health Organization, suggesting that we reduce or restrict our added sugar intake to no more than 6 teaspoons of added sugar for women and no more than 9 teaspoons of added sugar for men. And when we look at maybe like a small yogurt container that you can get at the grocery store that is sweetened, so it'd be like a flavored yogurt, it can have 3 or 4 teaspoons of sugar in just one of the small packets. So less, I'd say about half a cup of yogurt. And that really contributes to our overall added sugar intake for the day. That's almost half for women. Choosing the plain or unsweetened yogurts can really help us to stay within that guideline of reducing our added sugar intake. If you really don't like the taste of plain yogurt, especially if you're not used to it or if you've been relying on these sweetened yogurts in the past, you can start by mixing a plain yogurt and a sugar yogurt together, and that will cut the amount of added sugar in half. So that's a good spot to start. Or you could have a plain yogurt and you can add your own sweetener to it. If you add your own sugar, and that can be any sugar you like, maple syrup, honey, jams, you will likely be adding less added sugar than what's already found in the pre-mixed sugary yogurts. And lastly, another trick that my kids really like is having plain yogurt and then having some fruit in it to sweeten it. And what I do is I usually have some wild blueberries in my freezer and I saute them, kind of melt them, cook them on the stovetop for a few minutes. They release a lot of the water and they become sweeter that way. At least my children enjoy it. So I heat it up and then I put it on their yogurt. It's a great way to add more nutrients to your yogurt and flavor. Second tip when you're looking at buying yogurt is you want to look at the fat percentage. The fat that's found in yogurt is saturated fat, and we know that the American Heart Association recommends that we restrict our saturated fat intake to about 6% of our calories for the day. So if you're consuming around 2,000 calories, then that means that you should stay under 13 grams of saturated fat in a day. Now, you can spend that saturated fat any way you like, and if you choose a higher fat yogurt, know that the fat that's found in yogurt would contribute to your saturated fat in the day. There has been mixed research, and the newer research is leaning towards the saturated fat found in dairy products not being harmful for our heart, like the saturated fat found in animal products. However, the guidelines do not reflect that as of yet, so I would err on the side of caution and make sure that the amount of saturated fat you're consuming in dairy products like yogurt stays within your 13 grams of saturated fat budget for the day if you're consuming around 2,000 calories. There's two ways you can check the fat content. So on the front of package, it will have a percent MF or percent milk fat. So trying to get the 0% MF or 0% milk fat means that there will be no saturated fat in that product. You can also look at the nutrition facts panel, and under fat, saturated fat is listed out there, and you can see the exact amount of grams per serving. So make sure you calculate the amount of saturated fat based on how much yogurt you are actually consuming. So for example, if the serving size is half a cup, but you have 1 cup of yogurt, you want to double the amount of saturated fat on that label. And then the third tip I would suggest when you're looking at buying a heart healthy yogurt is check the ingredient list. A heart healthy yogurt should have minimal ingredients. It should have milk, maybe some live bacterial cultures. And as we discussed, we want to try to limit the yogurt that has any added sugars, and if possible, preservatives or other additives that may not be necessary in a yogurt. The fourth tip I have is you actually want to look out for yogurts that are high in sodium. And this may be surprising because yogurt doesn't necessarily taste salty, but I've noticed that some of the pre-mixed yogurts, ones with added sugar, also contain high amount of sodium. We know that if you consume too much sodium, it can increase your blood pressure. And we also know that North Americans are eating too much sodium. So having some added sodium in our yogurt probably isn't doing us any good. So all you'll need to do is check the nutrition facts panel for that and make sure the sodium is low. And then tip number 5 is you can consider a Greek yogurt for more added protein. Basically, when Greek yogurt is processed, it is strained more and more of the liquid is strained away. This makes them thicker and more protein per scoop. So a circular yogurt could have around 5 grams of protein compared to the same serving of Greek yogurt could have around 15 grams of protein. So a significant difference. If that's something that you're trying to increase in your diet, it may be worth the switch. But again, make sure that you enjoy it, because I always recommend eating foods that you enjoy. Now, there are a variety of ways you can add yogurt to your diet. I love eating it as a snack paired with some fruit and some granola or nuts. Or pumpkin seeds on top. I think that's a really well-balanced snack. It keeps me full for a good period of time. My kids like the same ingredients, but kind of more in a parfait, and they think it's a fun treat or dessert after dinner. You can add it to smoothies. It thickens the smoothies, as well as adding the calcium, vitamin D, protein that we need for a heart-healthy diet. It's a great mayo substitute. So mayo isn't necessarily bad for our heart, but if you wanted to replace it for a lower calorie, more nutrient dense alternative, I would try yogurt. So if you're having like a salmon salad or tuna salad or egg salad sandwich, try adding a little bit of yogurt instead. You could do half mayo, half yogurt. And I think that's a really easy way to start incorporating a little bit more nutrition. I also think it makes a great salad dressing. So like a nice creamy salad dressing can be made with yogurt as well. And what else do I use yogurt with? I sometimes add it to my baked goods, so things like muffins or quick breads. It's a great way, especially if you're using Greek yogurt, to add a little bit more protein to the mix. And finally, dips or sauces. So dips are really a big hit with my kids, and they love dipping anything that they eat. So I often have a yogurt-based dip, especially for veggies. It's a nutritious way to add some fun to the plate. So I hope this helps you buy a heart-healthy yogurt And be sure to claim your free 7-day heart healthy meal plan. All you need to do is sign up for my weekly newsletter, and you'll get the meal plan delivered as well as weekly heart healthy tips to keep you on track. And if you have any ideas for next videos, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know in the comments below of what you need help learning more about for a heart healthy diet. Until next time, bye for now.